The morning sunlight filtered through my kitchen window as I sipped my coffee, enjoying the rare peace of a Saturday morning. I had just finished a grueling work week and was looking forward to finally organizing my garage, a project I've been putting off for months. My house sat at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac in Pine Ridge Estates, a neighborhood that had become increasingly suffocating ever since Margaret Whitmore became HOA president. Margaret, even thinking her name made my jaw tighten. She was the kind of person who measured her neighbor's grass with a ruler and sent violation notices if it exceeded the HOA-mandated 2.5 inches. Her silver Mercedes was always immaculate, her blonde bob always perfectly styled, and her smile always concealed something sinister. I set down my coffee mug and headed toward the garage, mentally cataloging what needed to be done. But when I pressed the button to open the garage door, something was wrong. The door wouldn't budge. I pressed again. Nothing. Frowning, I walked around to the side entrance of my garage, unlocked the door, and flipped on the light. My mouth fell open. 3 massive red pickup trucks were crammed into my 2-car garage, packed so tightly that I could barely squeeze between them. Each truck bore the same magnetic sign on the door, HOA Landscaping Project. What the hell? I muttered, my heart pounding. I pulled out my phone and began taking photos, documenting every angle. This was insane. This was my private property. I stormed out of the garage and nearly collided with my neighbor, Dave, who was getting his mail. Dave, did you see who parked these trucks in my garage? Dave's eyes widened. Oh man, yeah, it was Margaret. She showed up around 6 this morning with a couple of guys. I thought you'd given her permission or something. Permission? My voice rose several octaves. Why would I give her permission to store HOA vehicles in my garage? Dave shrugged helplessly. She said something about the HOA needing temporary storage for the spring beautification project. Said your garage was community property during emergencies. I felt my blood pressure spike. My garage is not community property. I marched across the street to Margaret's house, my fists clenched. She answered the door wearing a designer track suit, a yoga mat tucked under her arm, looking completely unbothered. Oh, hello, dear, she said with that saccharine smile. I was just heading to my Pilates class. Margaret, why are there 3 trucks in my garage? She blinked innocently. The HOA trucks? Well, we needed somewhere to store them temporarily. The landscaping crew starts Monday, and we can't have them cluttering up the streets. It's in Section 14, subsection C of the HOA bylaws. Community beautification projects take precedence over individual property concerns. I stared at her, incredulous. You can't just park vehicles in someone's garage without permission. Actually, I can. She pulled out a thick binder from seemingly nowhere. As HOA president, I have the authority to utilize community resources as needed. Your garage has been designated as temporary HOA storage. The trucks will be removed by end of business Monday. That's 2 days from now. I have plans this weekend. Margaret's smile hardened. Well, you should have attended the HOA meeting last month where we discussed this. Participation is mandatory, dear. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to be late. She closed the door in my face. I stood there, shaking with rage. Then, slowly, a smile spread across my face. If Margaret wanted to play games, I could play games too. I walked back to my house, pulled out the garage door open from inside, and pressed a button. The garage door rumbled closed with those 3 trucks trapped inside. Then I went to the side entrance, locked it with my key, and pocketed both the key and the garage remote. Next, I called the non-emergency sheriff's line. Dispatch, this is Deputy Rodriguez. What's your emergency? Hi, this is Jake Morrison at 847 Maple Court. I like to report 3 vehicles illegally parked on my private property. They're trespassing in my garage, and the owner is refusing to remove them. Someone parked in your garage, sir? Yes, the HOA president. She entered my property without permission and stored 3 trucks in my garage. I have photos. There was a pause. We'll send someone right away, Mr. Morrison. 15 minutes later, a sheriff's cruiser pulled up. Deputy Rodriguez was a tall, no-nonsense woman with sharp eyes that took in every detail. I explained the situation, showed her the photos I'd taken. So she just parked trucks in your garage without asking? Deputy Rodriguez's eyebrows rose. Claimed she had HOA authority to do it. The deputy shook her head. That's not how property rights work. Let me go talk to her. I watched with satisfaction as Deputy Rodriguez knocked on Margaret's door. Margaret answered, still in her track suit, her expression shifting from annoyed to alarmed when she saw the uniform. Their conversation was brief but animated. I couldn't hear the words, but I could see Margaret's face turning red, her hands gesturing wildly. The deputy remained calm, occasionally pointing toward my house, her posture radiating authority. Finally, Margaret stormed across the street toward me, the deputy following close behind. A few neighbors had emerged from their houses, drawn by the commotion. This is ridiculous. Margaret sputtered. Deputy, explain to this man that the HOA has certain rights. Ma'am, Deputy Rodriguez interrupted firmly. The HOA has no right to enter private property or store vehicles without the owner's explicit consent. What you've done constitutes trespassing and illegal use of property. But the bylaws don't supersede property law, ma'am. No HOA agreement can force a homeowner to surrender use of their garage. Margaret's face was now crimson. Fine, I'll move the trucks. Jake, open your garage door right now. I smiled sweetly. I don't think I will, Margaret. Excuse me? Well, according to you, your trucks will be fine there until end of business Monday, so they can stay locked in my garage until then. After all, I wouldn't want to interfere with the HOA's beautification project. You can't hold my trucks hostage. Deputy Rodriguez cleared her throat. Actually, ma'am, they're on his property. He has every right to deny you access. But the landscaping crew needs those trucks Monday morning. I shrugged. Should have thought about that before you parked them in my garage without permission. Although, I paused dramatically, I suppose we could work out an arrangement. Margaret's eyes narrowed. What kind of arrangement? First, you resign as HOA president, effective immediately. Second, you write a formal apology to be distributed to all homeowners, admitting you overstepped your authority. Third, you pay for a new automatic garage door opener. You probably damaged mine when you forced those trucks in. And fourth, the HOA drops all pending violation notices against me for my unapproved mailbox color. The neighbors who had gathered were now openly grinning. Dave gave me a thumbs up. Margaret looked like she was chewing glass. You can't blackmail me. I'm not blackmailing you, I said calmly. I'm simply choosing when to allow access to my private property. You can accept my terms, or you can explain to the HOA board Monday morning why the entire beautification project is delayed because you illegally commandeered a homeowner's garage.